What was something you saw you were definitely not supposed to see? Borrowed my dad's camera, found out he was gay. I love the simplicity of this comment. I do not possess the necessary linguistic capabilities to properly elucidate the gravity of the experience. Hard drive failed on my dad's computer. The data recovery software did a pretty good job really, but I could have done without it recovering nude damp lingerie shots of the various women he's been banging behind my mother's back over the years. While my concern is more with things like financial details etc., rather than secret cheating photos, this is basically the answer to my friend's question as to why I dismantled my HDD and smashed the plate to dust before binning it. The code to open all the doors in my primary school at the time. A lot of power to open any locked door for an 8-year-old. I did theater tech in middle school, so they gave me a key to the theater so I could work on stuff when the building was closed. Only, it turned out that the key they gave me was a master. It opened any door in any building on campus built in the last 15-ish years. I told the assistant headmaster pretty much as soon as I figured this out, and he was cool with it since I was basically a responsible kid. But then, this one day, one of the faculty members locked himself out of his apartment and I let him back in. His wife was not pleased. And that's the story of how I lost my ability to work on theater tech stuff whenever I wanted. David Copperfield Show. I was at an angle that allowed me to see the volunteers running out from the stage during a disappearing act. I caught a ball he threw out to get an audience participant, and since apparently I was too young at the time, my mom went up. She was one of like 8 volunteers. He went down the line and gave them all envelopes. All of them were told to think of a number. He then instructed them to say the number they were thinking and then open the envelope which had a number written inside. Every single one was right. Couldn't fucking believe it. She said she had no idea how, and acted amazed. I did some magic and knew how most tricks were done or had a general sense of how they worked, but seeing one like this dumbfounded me. I figured when they did shit like that on TV it was all paid actors, but it was my mom, so it had to be real, and I for the life of me could not fathom it. 10 years later that show got brought up. My mom says, "Oh yeah, no, he just told us all what number to say." I used to work in the basement of a pretty large hospital doing engineering work. They'll often car dead bodies out of the hospital through the basement, so it's usually not a big deal, you just tend to try and ignore it. One time as I was finishing up a test in a pretty remote room, I walked out to an entire security detail escorting a body. I just got immediately shoved back into the room, so nothing really exciting happened, but I always wonder who that could have been. I work in a major hospital and we service everyone from politicians to celebrities. It was most likely a well-known person or possibly a person from a hot news report that the media was focused on. Even if it was only a sheet and you couldn't see the body. The ordinary people, the reporters, and the paparazzi try their best to take photos. We have caught people pretending to be patients. We prevent ordinary people trying to sneak a picture, which can easily be sold or leaked. No matter how famous, in life or in death, a person is entitled to privacy, and it is the hospital's responsibility to heal them and always protect their rights. I don't know if I wasn't supposed to see this, as I can't figure out any reasoning behind this beyond maybe exhibitionism? Though really I don't want to put exhibitionists in the same group as this couple, because goodness gracious. I had a patient who was close to death and we called her daughter. She came and we set her up in the room to stay until her mother passed. She brought her boyfriend, which is not abnormal. I walked in to do my routine check and they were having sex on the cot that was set up for her maybe 15 feet from her dying mother. I mostly didn't want to see, so I am answering this wrong. My third job I had, at 17, was at a pizza place. I had 2 managers, one male, one female, and they were both married to other people. Well, I went to hand in my drawer at the end of one shift and walked into the office, and there they were just making out with some heavy petting. Their spouses found out. They left their families, and then those two managers got married to each other. As far as I know, they're still together. Edit: I am getting a lot of people sending me messages that are insulting me for having my third job by 17. Like wow, I didn't realize all you Redditors were so accomplished by 17. But my first job was detasseling, like many other kids in my small Midwestern town. Then, I worked concessions at an outdoor pool. Once again, Midwestern town, so this outdoor pool was only open during the summer. So, then by 17, I needed another job, and thus, I arrived at the door of a Pizza Hut. Also no, I didn't tell their families. I was 17, I didn't even know these people's spouses. Their families found out, because they told them themselves, because they both wanted divorces from their respective spouses. Back when I was a teenager, we hosted a New Zealander at our house for a couple weeks. Guy gets to our place after the flight, and about 10 minutes later I'm walking around my house to see where he's at. The door to his room is partially open, and the dude is laying face down on the bed and humping the ever-loving fuck out of a pillow. I backed away slowly like Homer when he saw Apu cheating on his wife. I felt bad for the pillow. Won a used laptop from my female friend in a bet. She had a bunch of nudes on it. Won a used laptop from my female. This was no accident. I agree, she's sending mad hints bro. Happened when I was 7. I found the Tom and Jerry DVD I had lost, in the back of a drawer. In celebration, I decided to watch it again. By the time my mother walked into the living room and saw me watching a threesome, I was already scarred for life. She took away the entire DVD collection. Similar thing happened when I was a kid. At my grandma's, she set me up in her adult stepson's bedroom while the adults upstairs did whatever, I can't remember, and after looking through his movie collection I decided on a Spice Girls VHS to keep me entertained. Turned out it was some Spice Girls porn parody, and when she came back to check on me she quickly realized and pulled the tape out. I think she was more scarred than I was. I was a very young and forgetful girl, so I don't remember anything specific about it other than it was really dirty. I found invitations to my big surprise 18th birthday just lying on the floor a few weeks before the event. I had to act surprised when the time came to walk through the door to the party, which I did. The only thing is, my twin brother also knew, which I didn't know at the time, and let's just say his acting skills are really bad. So we both found out in different ways about the surprise party, but neither of us knew that we found out about it. So when I walked through the door for the surprise, I could tell from his reaction that he knew. Dude robbed a gas station. I was riding my bike in the back, saw him take off his mask and get in a car. We made eye contact. I turned my head and acted like I didn't see anything. When I was in my late teens I was sitting with a friend in his car at a set of traffic lights about 3 a.m. on a quiet street in the city. At the next set of lights ahead, which was maybe 30 meters away, I saw a guy walk up to the car waiting for the lights to change. He extended his arm and fired a shot almost point-blank range at the passenger window, before quickly walking off. We sat there in shock for a minute thinking, did we just fucking see what we thought we saw? While the car sat there through 2 more light changes, before slowly rolling away. No other cars were on the street at the time. The next day I saw on the news some dude from a gang called the Assyrian Kings was shot in the head in a car and died right around where we were the night before. We never said shit about it to anyone as we decided we didn't want to get involved, being paranoid teenagers. When I was a young teen I was once leaving my house to go do something in the neighborhood. As soon as I got out of the door I heard my parents at the garage. My mother seemed to be in her car, and my father was sitting down behind her car, and pleading with her not to leave. My parents were divorcing, and I saw a few scenes that I wish I never had. Not really horrific, but seeing your parents in emotional pain can be rough. That's rough. That reminds me of me walking out into the hallway and seeing my dad hit my mom for the first time when I was like 10. I couldn't sleep and I've always been a mama's boy and heard her crying. She was on the floor and my dad had a most evil glare in his eye. I just ran back to my room scared, and cried for my mom.
Subscribe to our channel if you liked our videos. Hit the notification bell to get notified.